questions I get asked often by my friends is that how am I able to read 2 or sometimes 3 books a week, especially since I work full time as a software engineer and do a couple of other activities on the side. In this video, I want to talk about how you can also develop the habit of reading and explore the great world of books out there. Hey everyone, my name is Srishti and welcome back to my channel. All of us can agree that books are some of the most profound and in-depth insights ever recorded. And if you're not reading that much, you probably are missing out on these. There are a number of reasons why you should read more books, like increasing your vocabulary, stimulating your imagination, broadening your horizons, and so on. But before I give you the tips that you should follow to develop this habit of reading, I want to point out what you should not do. And these, I believe, are the reasons why people are not able to commit to the habit of reading. The biggest mistake that people do is that they consider reading as work. They're like, hey, I must read this book because everybody around me is reading it, everybody's talking about it. And I believe that if you start reading a book with that mindset, that it is something that needs to be done just because everybody else is doing it, then you don't enjoy the process.
I would rather read a book about a wizard going to a mystical land with talking trees and falling in love with another wizard with supernatural powers, simply because I will enjoy reading that. I will not read a book if it does not appeal to me.
I'm not going to read something just because everybody else around me is reading it. You shouldn't get demoralized and give up reading altogether just because the first book you picked up didn't live up to your expectations. I'm reading this book currently called On Writing Well by William Zinsser. Amazing book, by the way. And in that book, he mentions that it is up to the writer to write in such a way so that it keeps the readers glued to the book. If I open a book and I don't enjoy reading it, I'll just simply close the book and move on to the next one. Finally, I've seen it happen so many times that somebody is reading a book, they were loving it, they got caught up in other activities, and then that book just became another one in their list of unfinished books. I believe this one is the easiest obstacle to overcome. With this, now let's move on to the tips that you can follow to develop the habit of reading.
The first tip is that you should start listening to audiobooks.
If you love that book but just can't find the time to sit, concentrate and read, audiobooks are the way to go. One of the best parts about audiobooks is that you can listen to them while doing other activities like cooking or taking your evening stroll or doing laundry. Another good thing about audiobooks, I feel, is that the pace is set for you. Like watching TV, somebody is coming and telling you a story. This is especially helpful if you find it difficult to get through a book. Audiobooks are a great way to start as well if you find it hard to sit and read.
Secondly, don't be stuck with one book if it doesn't interest you. Move on to the next one. This may sound contrary to tip number 1, but wait! What I want to say is that when you start a book and you feel after a couple of pages or a couple of chapters that this book doesn't interest you, then it is absolutely okay to close that book and move on to the next book. Even I used to treat books as these sacred objects that if once picked must be read till the last page. So if I picked a book which was not of my interest, I would struggle to complete it for months.
And while I encourage you to not give up on the book that you love reading, I totally support the idea of moving on to the next book if it doesn't appeal to me. So stay motivated and get a new book.
Thirdly, and I can't stress this enough, read what you enjoy.
This is partly related to the point I just made. The only way you're going to enjoy reading is if you read what you enjoy. I started out by reading a lot of Agatha Christie novels. It's not necessary that every book needs to give you a lesson which is going to change your life dramatically. Some books you read just for the pleasure of a good story. And you have to start reading a book first and foremost for the pleasure of reading.
So you don't always have to read what someone else is reading, because it's very possible that your interests are different from that person and you may not enjoy reading what they are reading. You need to pick a book that is going to interest you first. This brings me to tip number 4, which is to start small.
When you're just starting out, it's important to pick up books with fewer number of pages than lengthy classics. You don't want to get intimidated by the sheer size of the book. In the beginning, it's a good idea to set a small number of pages that you want to read every day. You don't want to set up some unrealistic goal like 100 pages a day.
So start with reading a few pages of a small book that you like, and then eventually you can go up to reading a book in just a couple of days. The next tip is based on the idea of sharing knowledge. So make what you have read a part of your coffee table discussions.
I personally find this a big driving factor for me to read more and more books. When you read a book, you are enriched with so much knowledge, and it's so fun sharing it with friends and family. And I believe that when you share your point of view, you in turn also get to listen to the other person's opinions and understanding. This is such a great way of enhancing and broadening your horizons.
And finally, tip number 6 says that stay away from distractions while you're reading a book.
And try to keep yourself away from distractions for the 15 or 30 minutes that you have dedicated to reading in your daily routine. Turn off the internet, get off Instagram, and give your undivided attention to the book in your hand. These were some tips on how you can read more. I hope you found it useful. Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, give a thumbs up to support the channel. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider doing so. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely day, and don't forget that you're awesome.